Homemade breadcrumbs are going to taste better. You'll save money.
Don't leave crumbs.
Let's make breadcrumbs.
Well, the golf writing was sort of an accident because what happened is I was in graduate school doing a degree in creative writing, and I was in a fiction writing program, and I had to write a novel while I was there as my master's thesis to graduate. And I'd spent the first year of the program sort of failing and writing a lot of short stories and just not finding anything that I wanted to pursue more than 10 pages. And finally I started writing about a caddy and who was this golf prodigy. And within 4 months I had a 400-page manuscript. And, because that was a world that I knew. And so I wrote this story about a kid growing up at a golf club and who was kind of the golfer I wished that I was, I guess.
Yeah. And
learning all these life lessons. And so I didn't go into my writing didn't start with the intention of writing about golf. But I wrote a golf novel and it got published and it got made into a movie, and it was all incredibly exciting and happened very quickly. And so suddenly, I was in the golf writing world. That book allowed me to start writing for the magazines, and it put my book on the golf shelf in the bookstore and gave me a golf readership. And that was something that I was very fortunate to have, and that with the subsequent books.
It's incredible, isn't it, when you think that? Unbelievable.
Dude, it was insane. It was crazy. I was 25 years old, and it was my 25th birthday, and I got a call from my agent, which I felt like incredibly fortunate to get an agent right out of graduate school. And he called me and said, there's some producer who wants to talk to you. And I was going out to dinner. I remember I was going out to dinner with my parents for my 25th birthday, still living at home. Or as we say, the ancestral estate. It sounds better than living with your parents. And he said, hang out. This guy wants to talk to you. It's like, yeah, I'll hang out. Mom and Dad, go ahead. I'm going to talk to this producer. And he called and said, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, nothing. What are you doing? Said, I'm flying out from LA and we're going to tell you how I'm going to make this movie. So that was wild because at that point, I didn't even know that producers or anyone even had access to the manuscript. It all happened, again, like I said, really quickly. And in fairness to him, he actually got it off the ground and got it made. It wasn't a huge budget picture, but
Gary Sinise there, right?
Gary Sinise was in it. Philip Baker Hall, Brian Doyle Murray, Mason Gamble played the prodigy who was Dennis the Menace when he was a kid, and he was in Rushmore. He ended up being Michael Murphy in Golf in the Kingdom. Yeah, he's so super. So the cast was actually it was killer. And this whole thing started happening. It was incredibly surreal. It was filmed at the golf course I grew up on. It was some of it was filmed in my house. Some was filmed out in LA, but we used a lot of locations around Philadelphia. So it was very strange to have the story that I'd imagined taking place in these places in my imagination, like my own golf course or my own house, and then to actually see those characters come inhabit them 6 months later. That was nuts.